What's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com. Well, it is week 15 of the NFL and fantasy football, so I wanted to do another recap of everything, all the action that happened, both good and bad. It was another not very good week. I'm telling you, to run badly, I've really had bad timing. Another 1-2 week, which is better than going 1-3. But then again, I couldn't have gone 1-3 because I'm only in 3. But there's only 3 possibilities now since the Any Given Sunday League is officially over. Sadly, the win was not in a game that I really needed or really matters to anything or anybody. So I guess we'll start there. We'll start positively and go from there, I guess. Good news, Cardinals got a win. Bad news, the Ravens and my fantasy team lost. So, Cardinals actually had a really good game against Detroit, won 38-10. Essentially, our entire scoring was Beanie Wells and our defense. Beanie had 3 touchdowns. Our defense ran 2 pick sixes back. It's funny because we had less first downs, less third down efficiency, less total plays, less total yards, less total drives, and less time of possession, but we still won. Lindley went 14 for 21 with 104 yards with an interception, a QBR of 21.5. Stafford went 24 of 50 for 246 with 3 interceptions, had a QBR of 4.9 and a rating of 37.6. Beanie Wells, like I said, had 3 touchdowns. He had 67 yards and 17 carries. Michael Floyd had 3 catches for 37 yards. Fitzy had 4 catches for 22 yards. And Roberts had 3 catches for 22 yards. All shitty. Calvin, Megatron, had 10 catches for 121 yards. And our defense ended up with 3 picks. Toller got 1, Johnson got 1, and Peterson got 1. Toller and Johnson ran theirs back for touchdowns. Peterson also had 7 additional tackles. Pretty solid game. So that was a solid win. Made me feel happy about that. But then the Ravens played and got pretty well shit on, to be quite honest. The Broncos showed up to play, and the Ravens did not. Ended up losing 34-17. It was 17-0 at halftime. It was 31-3 at the end of the third quarter. That's just ugly. I stopped watching, to be quite honest. It was just so ugly. And I get it, everybody has off games. Just like when the Texans lost to, I think it was Green Bay, and Green Bay just destroyed them. And I get that everybody does have off games, but this is getting down to the point of the season when you don't want to be having off games. Really don't want to. So hopefully this is just a blip, not a trend, and we'll go from there. We ended up only going 1 for 12 on third down. Had 278 yards to 350. They did. They almost doubled us in time of possession. Flacco ended up going 20 for 40 for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. His QBR, and I don't understand how this is possible, was .4. Maybe because he had, barely 50% accuracy. Because I know QBR takes into consideration all plays involving the quarterback. So maybe it was because of the interception he threw, or I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how that works. But .4. And his rating was 76.5, which isn't bad. But, just .4. What? Manning ended up going 17 for 28 for 204 yards. QBR is 62.9 and a rating of 94.9. Ray Rice had a crappy game, 12 carries for 38 yards. And really the only person who had any kind of a game was Dennis Pitta, who had 7 catches for 125 yards and 2 TDs. I don't think Bolden even played because I never even saw him. I know he didn't have a catch. Torrey Smith, I don't think played because I never saw him, period. So it was pretty pathetic. So 0-2, 1-1 of the pro games. And the win that I did get, I would have much rather it been either one of the other 2. I would have rather my fantasy team win or the Ravens win. Because the Cardinals, it doesn't matter at this point. They're barely playing for pride. So, hey, at least they got a little bump of pride there. But then we get to the BFFL League. And as you guys know, I've been in first place all season. So I got a bye for opening week of the playoffs. Felt awesome about it. Really excited. Feeling good. And even though I know I've been lucky to get where I've been, I know I've played some good matchups, luckily. I think I'm fourth lowest in power rankings, but I'm in first place. I could have lost like 3 of my games, but I didn't. So I know I've gotten lucky. I admit that. But it all came crashing down today. Second round of playoffs. Playing up against the guy who's been talking tons of shit, so I really wanted to beat him. My team just didn't show up. Outside of Andre Johnson, who got me 21.4, Steven Hauschka, the kicker for the Rams, who got me 14, and the Minnesota defense, who got me 16, everyone else scored under 10 points. And a couple of them were like the 2 to 3 range. Amazingly, he actually didn't even have that great of a week. But he had Drew Brees, who got 32 points. He had Adrian Peterson, who got 27.2. He had Aaron Hernandez with 15. He had Shane Graham, the kicker for the Bengals, with 17. And Detroit's defense got an 11. Everybody else was in the single digits. And, again, a lot of people were in the 3 to 8 range. So not a good week at all. But a better week than I had, and ended up beating me 109.2 to 78.1. So there's no way I can win the championship, sadly. Now all I can do is go into the Who Gives a Shit Bowl for third place and hopefully win that, make an extra $50. So it sucks. I would have loved to win the championship, especially since I did last year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was the year before that. But so I have won the championship, so I would have really liked to have, got it again. But thus is life. So got one more week now of fantasy football, just to see what happens in the Who Gives a Shit Bowl, and then fantasy football's done. So at the end, does suck, especially because the guy was talking so much shit. But it is what it is. So I ended up going 1-2 this week. One thing that really sucks is in the Any Given Sunday League, I actually would have scored 119 points, which for me is a pretty solid week, so that's kind of sucky. I would have loved to have been able to have, used those points, but at the end of the day, you got to play without dealt, and that wasn't dealt too well, sadly. But there you have it. That is Week 15 of the 2012 NFL and Fantasy Football season. 1-2, pretty crappy. Really hoping that I can turn it around next week and get third place, and that the Ravens can really bounce back from this and just get ready for the playoffs, because they're coming soon, and the Broncos made them look very not ready. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully next couple weeks we can end the season with lots of wins. That's what I'm aiming for. So as always, thank you guys for checking out my website. I am Matthew Maley. This is MatthewMaley.com. As always, you can check out the rest of my videos on MatthewMaley.com in the current video blog tab. You can also check them out directly up on YouTube if you like. Just go to Matthew Maley Poker. Matthew Maley Poker. And you can like, comment, and subscribe. You can also check me out on Facebook. I post all my videos there. Again, at Matthew Maley Poker. And then also follow me on Twitter, at Matthew Maley. Finally, check me out on Instagram. I'm just getting down with Instagram. I am, again, at Matthew Maley Poker. So, I will see you guys on the next video. Time to go put the Fitzy jersey away because it did not get me a win today. And I figure we're going with either Ray Rice or Ray Lewis next week. Hopefully one of them will bring me a win and I can get third place. So, catch you guys on the next video. Peace out, y'all.